What's up, everybody? Super stoked! Another beautiful day in God's creation. Thank you guys for chiming in for to the T8 Outdoors podcast, man. Thank you guys for spending the time of your day to get the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that's going to be presented here on the podcast. If you guys do me a massive favor, if you're listening to this on YouTube, if you guys could hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a little comment if you could. Everything helps. The more people do that, it gets the video into the YouTube algorithm, and by doing that, more people with disabilities are going to be able to hear the podcast and be able to hear what's presented in the podcast, and hopefully change their lives for the better. And that's what we're out. That's what we're out here doing, is just make your neighbor better, make your friends better. That's what we're doing. God's in control. We'll leave it at that. And then on the other line today, I'm super stoked. I got my good buddy Kingston on the other line. He provides a lot of wealth of information, so you guys are gonna want to listen to this podcast. I'm pretty stoked we're here. So Clint, thanks for coming on, brother. Dude, if you could just tell everybody who you are, what you do, and how we met. And yeah, man.
Yeah,
give
for
it
sure,
a go.
dude. First, let me just say thanks for having me, Derek. I appreciate you having me on the podcast, and I love what you're standing for, dude. I love how you're wanting to grow the community of badass outdoorsmen, and especially people that face a lot of the same challenges that you've persevered through. So, Clint Kingston here. I live in southeast Idaho, and I'm a husband, a father to 3 boys, and basically everything I love and cherish along with the family is anything to do with the outdoors. Love hunting, fishing, specifically archery. That's really how Derek and I met one another. As if I recall correctly, I think what we were talking, it's been like 5 years ago, but we met up on the mountain at a 3D shoot at Mountain Archery Fest. So our good buddy Ben Waddell, he was running that, and I think you won some tickets through Redbeard's giveaway or something, didn't you? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, on Instagram. Yeah, Redbeard hooked it up.
Yeah, so that was the first time we crossed paths, man. Had a great time shooting with you guys, and dude, it was just super cool to watch you go up there with the track chair and just freaking kill it, dude. So it was awesome.
I don't think I lost a single arrow on that shot.
Yeah, I know you were crushing it, man, and it was,
Yeah.
dude, just busting through those snow drifts. I mean, no terrain could stop you, man. It was
Right.
cool.
Going through
a fun
through the
experience.
deep mud. Yeah, we had fun. A bunch of good laughs. That's why I love those 3D shoots, man. I like shooting with a group. You get a group, not a massive group. You get a group 5-6 heads. You know what I mean? And everyone we just laugh and tell stories. And I love it. I love this time of the year, man. 'Tis the season for 3D.
Oh, dude. Yeah, me too. And speaking of 3D, I was actually up early this morning with a plan to get TAC Utah tickets. Dude, I'm sure you've played the TAC game. How fast those tickets go. It's a stressful
Dude,
deal.
it's nuts. Yeah. It's open. It's open today. I haven't got my tickets yet, but I as soon as I hang up with you, I'm gonna hop on that. But honestly, man, I've been in contact with TAC, and they don't have very much for someone in my position. Like it's more tailored towards the intense backcountry hunter. So
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna do there, but I know at the same time there's a shoot out here in northern California in the Lake Tahoe area. Team Whiskey 3D shoots. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but they rent out some ski resorts out here in the Lake Tahoe area at the same time as TAC. A lot of people who end up not being able to get into TAC head over there and do that. So
Nice.
either way, we'll have fun with it. I'll be able to get out there shooting.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, yeah, I hope
Have you
to
got your
cross.
tickets yet?
Yeah. So we got them this morning, man, and it was super stressful. Just how they do it. It's first come, first serve. They put you in a queue, and it's especially TAC Utah, man. It's a super popular range, and it just goes fast. So yeah, there's a bunch of us that got tickets, and I'm excited to join those guys up on the mountain. So it'll be a good time.
Sick. Pump, brother. Heck yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, that's one thing I really loved about Mountain Archery Fest, dude, is they always put a shoot together for the guys in track chairs, and I thought that was just badass of Brandon to do that, man.
Yeah. That's one of the main things I love about Brandon is you know tack is its own thing. I feel like it's more like industry based archery 3D shoots. What Brandon had over there at Mountain Archery Fest, it felt like more of like family and unity and like close. It felt like like a family shoot, dude, where everyone was just a cool group. You know what I mean? And we'd always hang out after the shoots too. At the spot, get dinner, sit around the fire, and just chat, dude.
Yeah, dude. I'm with you. It felt like a freaking family community. Well, and I think the first one I went to, you were actually chosen as a speaker, right? So I think you did some speaking, maybe with, well, maybe yeah, you participated in that.
Yeah,
I
and
think.
yeah. We were up there in the lodge, right?
Yeah, with Kirby. Can't remember his
All
first name.
right.
Tyler, maybe. Yeah, remember?
Something like that. Yeah, no, that was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that. And Brandon's like, "Hey, here's a mic." I'm like, "Oh, hi."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So that was badass.
well, that's cool, man. So, Clint, bro, I appreciate you. If you guys ever want to check out Clint and what he's got going on Instagram, it's Clint Clint Kingston Kingston 1 Clint Kingston 1. Pretty cool to follow your what you're doing, man, and just how you're so focused on fitness and bringing that into the outdoors. And that's what I really want to chime in with people here, in the wheelchair and the disability community is just because we're disabled, just because you have XYZ wrong with you doesn't mean you let yourself go, and start packing on weight. Like it gets so like I'm gonna speak for myself in a wheelchair, like I got chunky, man, around 2018, dude. I was the heaviest I had ever been. I was probably 220. I mean, 5'9", 220, and in a wheelchair. It wasn't good, dude. Like I was having a hard time pushing myself, and then you throw out your shoulders, and you only got two of those, dude. You throw out one, and your legs don't work, and you're screwed. But the straw that broke the camel's back was my mom couldn't. I needed help getting up a curb, and my mom couldn't get me up a curb, dude. And that just mentally, dude, that just rocked me, man. I was like, all right, dude. You're fat, bro. Like, admit it, bro. Like, you're fat, dude. You need to get, your mom can't even help you up a curb, bro. Like, get into shape. Get your game on. And it's not even like getting into shape, but it's mental too, bro. You know what I mean? Like when you're working out physically, you're working out mentally. Like you may not think you're working mentally, but dude, it gets you so strong mentally. And when you're having bad days too, you could always just tack on a little bit more weight, put a little bit more weight up, and it just, yeah, I don't know. I'm addicted, but that's how I got addicted to fitness and into the gym story is I got fat, dude. And I ain't gonna do it anymore. Can you chime in on why you love working out, being fitness wise, how you got, if you wanna throw out First Form out there and how you got involved with them, and just how it pertains to hunting, man. I'd love to hear your mindset, bro, because you're kicking butt, brother. I love it.
Appreciate that, dude. And a lot like you, Derek, dude, this isn't who I always was. Like my past times, I went through my low periods and found myself in that same type of boat. It's funny you say you were 5'9", 230 pounds. I wasn't far from that. So when I was 18, 19 years old, I found myself at my heaviest weight. And I'm 5'8", and I think the heaviest I ever was like 225. So,
Yeah.
which, my frame, man, your frame's a lot like mine, and it's like, dude, that's a lot of freaking weight for our frame.
Right.
So, and back in those days, dude, it was, I was in college. I was pretty chubby through most of high school, and a lot of that came from me just making poor life decisions, right? As a kid, especially picking up stupid habits. It really took place when I kind of dropped out of sports, became less active, and I started smoking cigarettes, so I didn't necessarily feel like doing anything that pertained to cardio, right? And then I found myself eating more and eating like shit because I just didn't know any better. And before you know it, dude, you're just out of shape and you feel like shit, and you don't realize it at the time, but it starts taking a toll on you mentally too, right? So,
Big time.
dude, and you don't know what you don't know, so you don't realize it until you find yourself like at that low point. Like with you, it was your mom having to help you, right? And you already went through a lot of hard challenges in life, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back for you, right? And for me, it was just, I think, having a depressed evening, one college evening, drinking some beer, and just, I think it had something to do with a girl. This girl wasn't into me and I was really into her, and I had to take a hard look at myself in that mirror and be like, dude, can you blame her? Like, if you were in her shoes, would you be into you? Like,
Straight up.
yeah, and so that was just kind of something that clicked for me, where I got up off my ass and said, I'm gonna go for a long walk, and I did. It was, the middle of the night, went for a long walk, found myself at a high school track, and I tried jogging around that track, and I think I made it like one lap, so a quarter mile, and I was just heaved over, and, my lungs were burning, I felt like shit, and it's like, dude, this is a joke, you've got to make some changes, and that's really where it clicked for me, where it's like, dude, if you truly want the things that you're passionate about in life, you've got to make some changes. You've got to make some life changes, and that was kind of the beginning for me, man. And from that point forward, I wasn't for sure what to do, but I knew I needed to eat less, and I knew that I needed to move more. And it was just at the perfect time where I just got done with college, and I started working as a welder. So I was doing fairly labor-intensive work, and I started watching what I was eating, and the weight started just dropping off. And dude, you can relate to this. Like, once that starts dropping off and you start feeling and seeing the difference in yourself, like it just exponentially grows, right? And it's like you become addicted because you see what's on the other side of that.
Right.
That was kind of the beginning for me, man. And like you say, like, we all have our different challenges, right? Like, I didn't experience any super life-altering experience where I lost my legs, and I couldn't even imagine going through something like that, right? But it's all the same, but from a different angle, right? Like, you can't let the sympathy or the poor me mentality stop us from what we're truly capable.
Preach, brother. I love it. Absolutely. But yeah, man, it's like when you're working out and you start seeing, that's what I like too. Like when you first start working out, it's like, don't look at, like, weigh yourself, but don't look at the scale for results. You know what I mean? Like, take measurements. Like, dude, measure your thigh, measure your stomach, measure your chest. Like, take measurements, because muscle weighs too. Because once you start working out, you may be losing fat but gaining muscle, and you may see your weight not really fluctuating much, and you're like, dang, like, I know I'm putting in work, but I've only lost 2-3 pounds, or you may gain weight, but it's like, dude, it's like your muscle weighs, like you're gaining muscle but losing fat, and it's yeah, I mean, you're more knowledgeable on that stuff, but I just love it, man. And what how do you? So first off, let's say, how'd you get into the outdoors? How'd you get into hunting?
Yeah, so man, I've always been super interested, even as a young kid, with guns. Like, I've always had a passion for guns, like most young kids that are raised in rural areas anyways. Man, when I was a toddler, I'd make my dad take me down to the local store and buy a toy gun every week, man. There's just something about them that I've always been passionate about. But through the years, I just went from toy guns to being interested in hunting. It's kind of a funny story, dude, because my dad, who I looked up to as my hero, was a vegetarian. He's been a vegetarian his entire life. So obviously it's not like his wheelhouse to do hunting, but he's always been supportive of my outdoor passions. So he's always supported me. He'd always, he'd load me up as a kid when I first got my hunting license, like going and hunting doves, and he would drive me around and let me hop out of the car with my shotgun and go run through a field, try to flush some doves up to shoot. And my grandpa, he was really my mentor as a hunter. My grandpa and my uncle, who was a taxidermist, they were really my main mentors when it come to like deer hunting and waterfowl hunting who really got me involved.
Sorry, you're saying your grandpa was a taxidermist. I'm guessing he hunted too.
My uncle, yeah, my uncle was a
Oh,
taxidermist.
okay. What? Okay, never mind. Yeah, I thought you were saying, I was just wondering how like your grandpa and then your dad completely 180'd on it. But anyway, sorry. Keep going. Go ahead.
No, you're good, dude. Yeah, so my grandpa, it was actually from my mother's side. So my mother was a carnivore. So I always jokingly tell everybody, man, when they ask me if I'm vegetarian or not because they know my dad, I say I'm half vegetarian because my dad's full vegetarian, but my mom's not.
I like
But
veggies. I like meat too.
yeah, yep, exactly. So, but no, yeah, those, between my grandpa and my uncle Dirk, they kind of stepped in, and kind of showed me the path to the outdoors. And then I was very, very fortunate with just having friends that were very much had the same passions, right? And their dads were big hunters, so man, those guys were always really good about inviting me to come with them and experience the outdoors with those guys. So, and my dad, he'd always take me fishing and stuff. He just wasn't a big game hunter. So that's kind of how I stepped into it. And then man, that's the one regret I really have with hunting. Period, is I didn't get started into archery until I think I was like high 20s, like 28 to 30 is really when I started shooting archery. And nowadays, you know me, man, I don't even, if I can harvest all my animals with a bow, that's my number one option. Like, I don't hardly even find myself pulling out a rifle anymore. I've got this gun safe back here. If you're on YouTube, you can see that, and it's stocked full of guns. But to be honest with you, I can't remember the last time I pulled a gun out and killed anything with it. Anytime I get in there, it's mostly for my kids, take them out hunting with rifles. So everything I do, I really enjoy the archery stuff.
No, if I could, in every hunt I hunted with, I would. I mean, I would hunt with a bow. I just getting up close and personal, and it's really like building a relationship with your game. You know what I mean? It's not like long distance. Harvest something at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 700 yards. You know what I mean? You're not like really up close and personal, and you can't see the eyes and you can't see the breathing. And when it's cold out, when they breathe out and you can see their breath, and like you can't really do that. You can't really do that with a rifle. So like when I got my first animal, even this antelope, I got this antelope right here too. I got him with my bow, and just seeing him coming down the fence line and come with the sun shining on him, I was like, man, that's like probably the most beautifulest animal I've ever seen in my life, and just gorgeous. And then you just see him coming in, you see the eyes, and obviously I'm in a blind in a field with no trees, so he's staring at me like that shouldn't be there, but I don't know what it is, but I'm still gonna go into this water hole and grab a drink. But it's like, yeah, man, it's just being up close and personal and having a relationship, and then going through your steps of pulling your bow back, getting your target on sight, anchoring your point, getting your breathing under control too. I feel is a lot harder with archery, just because you're up here and you're not on a tripod, or you're not on the ground like anchored and steady. You know what I mean? You're still bobbing up and down, and I don't know. I'm talking for me personally, dude, but I love it. I absolutely love it. It's such a good fun time. But in my position being in the wheelchair, man, it's like not every hunt is feasible with a bow, because whatever. Just the terrain will dictate the option of harvest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that, man. Dude, I freaking applaud the hell out of you, bro, for the success that you've had with a bow and arrow in a wheelchair. Like, that is impressive as hell to me, honestly. Like, and I watch a lot of your stuff, dude, and I just think it's so cool that you put in the time and the effort that you do to make it happen. Because I think most people just come up with the excuses of why they can't, right? Instead of breaking those walls down of, no, what do I got to do to put myself in that situation and find a way to do it. So I think it's badass, bro.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, that's one of my favorite sayings, is just complacency kills, bro. Comfort kills. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like certain situations, like the easy route's nice, dude, but if you're not pushing limits of what's expected of you, and like you're not living on the edge of danger or the edge of the unknown, you're really you're just a passenger in life. You know what I mean? Life is just passing you by, and you're just going with the flow. But it's if you're getting archery, or you're doing something that could potentially be dangerous, but you go out there and do it anyway, and you accomplish your goal. It's like, man, you feel alive, dude. You're living in the moment. You're not just hoping everything goes cozy and comfortably. Like, I don't know, man.
No, I agree, dude. Now that you say that, it brings me back to when I was like 18 to 20 years old, dude. I remember, like, I started this new job, and I worked with people that were big outdoorsmen. They're big archery hunters, right? And they talk about it like they had this huge passion for it. And I had never shot a bow at a time. I didn't know anything about archery. I just knew about rifles, so I barely scratched the surface with rifle hunting at that point in my life. But I remember that feeling, man, being like, dude, I wish I knew somebody that would kind of show me the ropes when it came to archery. And I didn't have that person during that time of my life. And I felt like without having that person, I couldn't ever learn it or figure it out on my own, right? And now when I look back at that time, it's like, dude, that was me and my bitch voice just coming up with an excuse of why I couldn't pursue it, right? And I wish if I would have just done it,
Yep.
went to Sportsman's Warehouse or whatever and said, hey, help me figure out a bow so I can get started in this space. Dude, that would have tacked on 8 more grateful years of my archery hunting experience within my lifetime. You know what I mean? And I'd be that much further ahead than where I'm at now. So thankful that I started when I did, but I do have that regret that I wish I would have started sooner. For that same reason.
Yeah.
Just getting out of your comfort zone, man.
You're one of the best archers I know, bro, so I don't know how much better you can get.
I appreciate that,
You can always get better. You can always be Bodie, or you can always be those guys out there making $50,000, bro, at Vegas.
That's no shit. Yeah.
Are you gonna shoot Vegas?
Dude, I've never really looked into it. I've got some good friends that shoot it every year. I've just never done the spot shooting, like the competitive shooting like that. Furthest competitive shooting I've done is the 3D shooting. But it would be cool, dude. That's just another one of those things that's out of my comfort zone that I should probably give it a shot and see what I think,
Yeah. If it's out of your comfort zone, dude, and you've never done it before, but you're interested, is on your deathbed, bro. I don't want to live with like shoulda, coulda, woulda, and I want to be like, damn, I did that. Bro. It was hard. I didn't get very far, but man, it was a lot of, I did.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you know me, dude, just like you. It's like, if I'm telling myself in my head that it's out of my comfort zone, then that's just my cue that I need to do it. Like, we've
Right.
grown to live that way now. It's like, all right,
Preach.
there's my answer, dude. I've got to do it. I've got to try it and see what I think,
Yeah, it's like you said, it's that little bitch voice in the back of your head, like, no, be safe, be comfortable, don't do this, you might get a hangnail.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here, dude. Let's rock and roll, let's do this, man. But yeah, super sick, dude. So how did you get involved with First Form? And for the listeners who don't know what First Form is, can you kind of just give a little info on what it is and how you got involved in it?
Yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, so those of you who haven't heard of First Form, First Form's really best known for their supplements. So they're a supplement company, but they're much more than that. They, like we've talked, they are family. They're a community. They're, First Form as a whole, they really support the people that have went from being out of shape, overweight, haven't been their best selves. And First Form is really a company that's built a community around their brand to help those individuals become their best self. That's the best way I can explain it, dude. And they're for people like me who knows what it's like to be overweight, out of shape, not knowing where to start. And they basically guide you from being that person to becoming your best self. and truly they've become family over the years. So some people might recognize the brand through the CEO name, which is Andy Frisella. So Andy Frisella, he's really well known for coming up with the 75 Hard program. So, and that's honestly, Derek, that's how I kind of fell into First Form. It's funny how this shit works, right? Like when I look back on my past life, and it's like anytime I've had a huge change within my life, it's one of those things where I always find myself at my lowest point, right? So when I was 18, 19, it was in college when I was drinking beer, I was overweight, felt like shit, depressed. Well, I started my transformation journey, started getting in better shape, but I wasn't in great shape, but I made a lot of progress. Well, when COVID hit, I found myself kind of in that same boat, right? Like I wasn't totally out of shape like I was back then, but I wasn't in a good place mentally. And I was drinking a lot. A lot of things were taking place with all the changes with COVID. All the political bullshit, dude, it was just getting to my head and it was pissing me off. And the company that I worked for, were really, I guess they were really pushing the vaccine and the whole mask thing, and it was just driving me bonkers, man. And things changed for me. Like I was forced to work from home on certain days, so it was changing my structure, and I just found myself just falling into bad habits again. So anyways, I think it was my 35th birthday. My wife and I, we were going to, I think it was Wendover, Nevada. We were going there to spend my weekend, do some golfing. We found ourselves in the casinos, and I drank a lot that weekend, was gambling, ate a lot of the buffet food, and by the weekend was fun, don't get me wrong, we had a blast, but by the time I got back, man, I just found myself in that depressed state of mind again. I just felt lethargic from eating like shit all weekend and drinking. And I was in the gym that morning, and I remembered my wife telling me about the 75 Hard program. And I hadn't really put a whole lot of thought into it. She explained little bits and pieces of it to me, where basically it requires that you go 75 days without drinking. You have to drink a gallon of water every single day. You have to do 2 workouts, 2 45-minute workouts every day. One can be indoors, but you always have to, one of those 2 always has to be outdoors. It could just be a walk, for example. You have to read 10 pages of a book, and you have to stick to a diet that you set for yourself. And when she explained this to me, I think a couple months prior to my birthday weekend, then it sounded interesting to me, and I was already working out and stuff, but it was like, it all sounds good, but I enjoy my beers on the weekends, you know, like I don't really care to give that up. And I didn't look at it like I really had a problem. I just, when I had a long work week, then when I got off work on Thursday, man, I enjoyed to crack open a cold beer and drink through the weekend, you know? So, but yeah, so that morning when I felt like shit, dude, it's like, well, I'll listen to this podcast and see what it's all about. So I turned on Andy Frisella's podcast on 75 Hard, and it just hit me, dude. Every sentence within that podcast, it's like, dude, you're being a little bitch by coming up with this excuse that you don't want to do the program because you don't want to give up drinking. It's like, that's the root cause of why you feel the way that you do right now, you know. And it really clicked for me. It's like, damn it, I need to do this, you know. Like we talked earlier, it's like this is gonna be uncomfortable, because honestly at the time, dude, I hadn't went 30 days since I was probably 14 years old without drinking a beer. Like, so it was, you know, it became my identity. It's who I was. So anyways, I started thinking into it, and it's like, okay, what's between now and 75 days? And I'm like, shit, you know, if that gets into archery season, I really don't want to do it, because I love to drink beer around the campfire while I'm hunting. What will hunting be like without drinking? But it's kind of funny how it played out, dude, because I asked Siri, I said, hey Siri, what day is it 75 days from today? And she hops in my ear and she says, is September 3rd, or no, it is August 30th, which August 30th is the opener of archery season. And it's like, dude, this has got to be a sign from God. You know what I mean?
Right.
If I start it today, then by the time I complete the program, then it will be the opener, the archery opener. It's like, all right. So I text my wife and I said, hey, I'm doing it. I'm going to do 75 Hard. I said, do you want to do it with me? And she's like, yeah, I'm in. So Yeah, her and I started 75 hard, and that was a long answer to your question, bro. But that is how I kind of fell into First Form. So Andy is the CEO of First Form, and at the time I didn't even know there was an outdoors side of First Form. So I just started kind of listening to Andy's podcast. I was doing the 75 hard program. Long story short, dude, the results that I gained from doing that program changed my entire life. Like, it gave me an entirely different perception of myself, of what my capabilities were, and it showed me, like we were talking earlier, how I had control of my bitch voice this entire time. So that was a game changer for me, man. Like, once I figured that out and I seen that within myself, built confidence in myself after completing that program, I was a totally different human being. Like, there was no going back to who the other version of Clint was. So, and that
I
really,
love it.
yeah, dude, it was a cool experience. It gives me goosebumps now just thinking about it, like how far I've come since then because of it.
Right? Hell yeah, man. And then it just becomes after, honestly, after the first 10 days, bro, it's like, that's what they say. It takes 10 days for you to, like, start an addiction or to church. So I'm not even going to say it. But it's like, yeah, man, it's like, once you start going, dude, after a while, it just becomes like your everyday routine, like it just becomes life. And next thing you know, you're like, all right, like I'm gonna start doing, just start living like this. And it feels great, dude. And to eat, bro, eating good is massive. Once I changed my diet to basically just straight game meat, like I'll have some chicken here and there, but I've been blessed. God has blessed me to where I'm able to eat basically game meat, from my hunts. I've been successful on my hunts, and it's just like, bro, like a lot of like the inflammation, a lot of the arthritis, a lot of like I've been able to sleep better, like my diet, my body's functioning better, like, dude, it's just. I don't know, man. It's good. It's good. Eating healthy, man. Like, people say, "Oh, eat healthy." Like, "Oh, yeah, but I like ice cream or whatever." It's like, dude, like, once a week have a little bowl of ice cream. I mean, it ain't gonna hurt you as long as you're out there grinding hard. It's not even grinding hard, bro. It's just eating right. You know what I mean? Kicking that sugary crap. Like at the end of every night, like I was eating ice cream. Now I'll go and I'll have 10 grapes and a little piece of dark chocolate, and that'll completely put me into a good state of mind or whatever like that. It'll kick my habit, but at the same time, I'm not pounding a bunch of calories and sugar, fake sugar, not even real sugar. It's all fake and fake garbage and crap.
Yeah, all processed shit.
Processed, just horrible, man. But if you guys are listening to this, eat right and work out. I can't tell you just how massively it's going to change your mindset and change your life, dude. Especially if you're in a wheelchair. Like, you have no excuse to let yourself go and be fat, dude. Like, I'm calling it out right now. Like, there's no politically correct crap on this channel. Like, dude, like, you're fat, bro. If you're hearing this, and you know it. You know who I'm talking to. You know it. You just gotta admit it. The first thing's admitting it, dude, and then just from there grinding, dude. Start working out, and then the gym becomes an addiction. Like, you miss a day or two from the gym and you start feeling weird and you're like, I don't like this, man. I gotta get in the gym, and like even I just started with bands, dude, just rubber bands, you know what I mean, and then just going from there, and then man, you get me all fired up, dude, and I'm just ranting and raving and rambling, dude. Anyway, this is a hunting podcast. Clint, I would love to hear some hunting stories, brother, because we've talked in the past about some hunting stories, man, and I love following your page during hunting season, dude, and just see all the situations you get yourself into. And yeah, man. So what kind of let's go. I don't know, man. Pick a story. What's your favorite hunt? If you could chop it up real quick and tell us some stories in the mind of Clint Kingston.
And dude, it's tough to pick just one favorite one,
It
right?
is. It
But
is.
yeah, a couple that stand out to me, dude. So I think it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, archery hunting elk was one of my favorites, man. And it was one of those that I grinded my ass off. I was doing a lot of hiking, doing a lot of scouting. I had a good feel of where some really good bulls were. And I hunted the first week really hard, had a couple opportunities, had some good bulls come in. But it was one of those deals where it's like you draw back or it didn't all come together. Like I could have made those shots, but it's like, it's not quite the experience that I wanted for this year, you know? And it's like, you know, if I'm gonna harvest a bull like that in this type of scenario, I'd love it for one of my kids to be able to experience it with me. So I actually let a couple bulls go earlier in the season. And then as I built confidence that there were enough bulls coming in.
Was that because they were just basically a layup and you were looking for a slant and you were looking for a 3-pointer or what? Is that why you let them pass? Because you want your kids with them? It was just too easy of a scenario or what?
Like too easy, too early in the season, and just not like great big bulls, right? Like they were mediocre bulls, and honestly, like I'm not this huge trophy hunter. I'm like you, dude. I want to live off of wild game, and in fact, me and my family, we've grown accustomed to eating wild game, dude. I've harvested an elk. I've put an elk in the freezer every year since I moved to Idaho, which is over the last 12 years. There hasn't been a season I haven't been able to provide an elk for my family. So it just didn't feel right. You know what I mean? It just felt like, dude, I would love for one of my kids to be able to experience this with me if this is how I'm gonna have it all go down this year. And so anyways, after 10 days of the season went by, I built some pretty good confidence that I could be successful and have one of my younger kids join me while doing it. So I talked to my wife. We actually got my youngest boy, Knox, up there. My wife is awesome. She packed all of his hunting stuff, all of his camping stuff so he could come up and spend some nights with me up at elk camp. Drove clear up there, and I picked him up. He came up to camp with me, dude. He got to experience the campfire, sleeping in the hammock, the whole outdoors piece at 7 years old. It was cool just to be able to share that, whether we were successful with the hunt or not. Like, it was just cool
putting yourself in his shoes, and you're like, dude, I remember this.
Exactly, dude.
And you try to make it so like as cool as possible. You know what I mean? And your kid, your kid probably just ate it up too.
Yeah, he was loving it, man, and then it just made me love it that much more too. Because, like you said, like I could imagine myself being that young, thinking how cool that was, right? And it was a lot of work too, dude. Like from camp to where I was hunting was about a mile of a hike, and it wasn't flat ground. I mean, we're in the Rocky Mountains. It's down draws, up another, down and up, like 3 big draws. And he was a trooper, dude. He'd hike the whole thing. He was beat down by the time we got there, but he did it. And then this style of hunting I was in, we were sitting a wallow. So I had a section kind of cleared out where I was hiding behind some shrubs and stuff, and nice flat area. And we just waited, and we didn't have anything come in the first day, so we got to hike out and then do the same thing the next day. And we had 2 encounters that second day. Had a really good bull come down, but he came down above us where the wind was going up that draw. But it was cool because he got to see the whole thing. Like these 2 bulls came down, and they're heading for that wallow, but they just hit the brakes and knew something was up. They got a little bit of our wind, but Knox got to see that whole thing. Like that bull stopped for a split second, spun around, and hauled ass out of there. And it was.
I bet his heart was thumping, dude.
Yeah, he was all stoked. He's like, Dad, what happened? Like, what did we do wrong? You know, it's like, that's just one of those things that's out of our control, man. Like, you did great. Yeah. He was laying down, he held still, and it's like, they didn't see us, he smelt us, you know, and it's just how it played out, man. The wind wasn't in our favor. Right. But that wasn't like 3 or 4 hours later, sitting in that same spot, had another bull come in below us to that wallow, and Knox was actually sleeping on the ground, so I had to shake him and wake him up and tell him, hey, shh, there's a bull down there. And he's laying down again. I handed him my phone. I said, here, record this. And so he's laying down, he's zooming in on this bull, recording him, drinking out of the wallow. And it was a 57-yard shot, ranged him, and Knox, he did great as a cameraman too. I couldn't believe it. But I drew back on him, kneeling down, and just let it fly, man. And it looked and sounded like a good hit. He mule kicked and then hauled ass out of there. And yeah, it was badass, dude. Knox was super excited. Dude, yeah, he'll never forget it, right? And we got video of it too, which was even cooler.
Were you able to find him?
Yeah, and that's a whole nother story, dude. That was a little bit of a nightmare at first. So we probably gave it half hour, 40 minutes before we even went down to the wallow to look for blood or anything. Got down there, couldn't find like hardly any blood, like a couple drops. And it's like, what the hell, dude? I know I had to have hit him good. Like the shot felt good.
I punched him, dude. Yeah,
and I've practiced that range of shots like crazy. Well, you've seen me, dude. Out in my backyard, I'm flinging arrows 100 yards.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
Shooting long range frequently. So I felt very confident at that distance. Felt like I made a good shot. Anyways, we gave it another hour and then started to go track him and never did really turn up much blood, dude. So we got to a point where Knox was actually the one. He's like, I watched him go this way. I thought he went a different way. But Knox was right. He seen which direction he went. So we started following that. Got up on this open, bare face and started just looking at the ground really, really close, trying to find any tracks or any sign. And eventually, after getting up there a ways, I looked down and I could see antlers. So I kind of set it up for Knox. I was like, hey, let's go down here, maybe stand on top of this rock and just kind of glass around.
Yeah.
And just set it up for him to find him. And yeah, it was cool, dude, because he finally got eyes on him, and he was all freaking jacked and excited. And dude, it was just a badass experience, man. Good bull.
That's so freaking cool, bro. That's so rad. Yeah, you already seen him, and you know he's down to, but you set it up and you make the whole scenario play out like he's the one who found it, dude. And, oh yeah, I bet when mom got there, or when you started talking to mom, I bet you he was just like,
yeah, he
was. I can't
was.
believe what I did, mom. Dude, that's so rad. Like, I can't wait to have a kid, dude. And it's gonna be fun here, man. Pretty soon. Pretty stoked. But got anything else for us, man? Like, I don't know, man.
Dude,
I feel like I hate putting people on blast because it's hard to choose from all the years, but
no. It's good, dude. I do. I've just been super blessed, bro, with all these different experiences that, you experience some things like that, and it's like you'll just never forget them. Like, I can almost put myself in those exact places that I was, when it all goes down. Like you were talking earlier, just painting the picture of that antelope coming in. Like, that's how it was for me last year, dude, with my bull elk. Again, archery elk season. It was at first light. I was sitting in a tree stand, and I could hear this bull bugling above me, probably 200, 300 yards. And it was like, so I heard him bugling before first light, and I was like, hell yeah, dude, I'm in him right now. Like, some shit's gonna go down. Hey, Harvey. Sorry, my dog.
all right, you're saving the day.
Yeah, must have somebody
Save
at
the
the house
day.
trying to break in.
Right? We don't want to mess with that dog.
Yeah, don't mess with Harvey, man. He'll get you. Oh, but yeah, so I could hear that bull bugling, dude, and it's like, hey, it's gonna go down this morning, and it was, I pull out my little bottle of Windicator, and I hit it, and the wind's like perfect, the wind's going down the draw, the elk are up above me, and it's like, if they're gonna come down to this water hole, the wind's in the perfect place. And dude, it was like clockwork, right at first light, like right within 10 minutes of shooting light, I hear that bull bugling, he's getting closer, a cow and a little spike run out in this clear meadow up above me, and I know that bull's like right behind him, and that spike stops like in the middle of that open meadow and just stares at me, and it's like, shit, I'm busted, and he just stared at me for a minute, and then he kept walking slowly, and then that bull came down that ridge, dude, and it was like this perfect painting the silhouette of his body and his antlers and the skyline of the sun just barely coming up. And it's a nice, crisp, cool morning where you can see that frickin' steam coming out of his mouth.
I love it. I love that.
And dude, and he just runs up on that, behind that spike, and stops and is kind of smelling him and like kind of gives him like a head nog. And right when he was doing that, dude, I draw back on him, and it was ended up being a 35-yard shot. I figured he was 40, but dude, just pumpkined him, and just perfect shot, dude. He spun around, ran like 20 yards, and stopped. He just didn't know what just happened, right? Like it was a clean pass through. He didn't even know.
Right, yeah.
Didn't even know what the hell happened. He stopped on that same ridge line where I seen him silhouette, and so I hurried and loaded another arrow and just guessed him at 50 and put it right on his back. He was quartered away from me. Figured at this point, dude, if I can just get another arrow in him, then he'll go down that way.
Ain't gonna hurt.
Yeah. Hit him with the second arrow, and he went over that ridge line where I couldn't see him, but I felt super confident I made a good shot, at least one good shot, and I figured I hit him with that second arrow, so I was really hoping it was game over, but dude, I got video of the aftermath of that too, and same thing, it's just that the sun's just coming up, dude, just cresting over the mountain, watching the sunrise. I'm sitting there in my tree stand, and I'm just like, holy shit, like how blessed am I to be able to experience this right now, you know,
right.
Just think back of what just happened in the last like 2 minutes. It's like, wow, like that was incredible. Gave him a couple hours, and I went up and started looking for my bull, and he wasn't, 40 yards over that ridge where I found him. So an a mutual friend of ours, old Redbeard, he was up there hunting with me too, so he came in and helped me get him out, and it was just a cool experience, bro.
I love it. Yeah. Oh, man, I love it when he could have died on this side of the ridge. It would have been way better, bro, for that pack out. But yeah, man, I love it. I love one of those clean pastures like this guy. I remember specifically this antelope right here, this pronghorn. Boom, same deal. Clean past. It came up to the water, was drinking water, and I, center punched him. I got a little movie of him. Popped him, and he spun around, went like 5-7 yards, kind of looking around, like didn't know what the heck was going on. And it's just leaking. Like every time his heart beat, blood would beep, 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 beep. But he turned around and walked back to get more water. Like he was like, "What the heck was that?" Like it was just like a bee sting. And he walked back to get more water, dude. And he took a step up to get to that water hole, and he started doing the dance, started doing the wobble, and he was like, he's mine, dude. Like, yeah, dude. But, yeah, man, that's cool. That's cool. Freaking Jonathan was up there with you too, man.
Yeah, it was way cool, man. We got to spend a lot of time in the elk country this last fall, and dude, it's just funny how it goes full circle, like we were talking before we even started this podcast. It's just funny how over the years our lifestyle and our outdoors passions have crossed paths throughout the years, and the community and the friends that we've made throughout the process. Dude,
I say some of my best friends I have now are Instagram friends, bro, that I've met on Instagram, but then we've ended up, connecting in real life, whether it be like Western Hunt Expo. By far my favorite weekend of the year, dude. Outside of opening day, of course. But that's a deal in itself. People are always like, "Oh, what's your favorite holiday?" I'm like, "Opening day." They're like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah, opening day. Like, what's that? I'm like, deer season, elk season. Like, the first day you could go out and hunt them. They're like, "All right, man." Like, that's not what I was talking. I was talking like Thanksgiving, Christmas. They're like, "Well, whatever, dude. Go hug a tree, bro. I'm gonna, I'm out there."
Gonna go kill some game.
Opening day is my deal, dude. But yeah, man, it's just some of the coolest people I know, and some of the coolest adventures I've been able to go on too, because of people I've just met on, like Redbeard. Like, if it wasn't for Instagram and social media, I would have never met him, and then I would have never met you. Our whole friendship and our whole dynamic would have never went down. Redbeard, that whole never would have went down. I would have never met Brandon Waddell. I would have never met just a bunch of people, dude. And it's just so cool how, like, I'm a firm believer in God. I'm a man of faith, dude, and I believe that he puts people in your life that are, everyone has something for you. No one comes into your life without filling a hole in your life that you didn't know existed. You know what I mean? Like everyone has a certain part that they're there for.
Yeah.
If that
No,
if
I
that if that makes sense, it makes sense in my head. I don't know if it's coming out right, but it's like,
no, it's making sense to me, dude. One of my favorite quotes that I've ever heard is by Ed Milet, and I'm gonna butcher this, but he says something to the effect that things don't happen to us, they happen for us. And I couldn't agree with that more, dude. And I think back of everything I've been through and where I found myself at certain places within my life where I made a big change. And it's like, dude, if I wouldn't have been that fat,
yeah,
it's like I wouldn't have that perspective if I hadn't have gone through that. And then same thing with the whole COVID thing that I shared with you. Like if I wouldn't have experienced that, then I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have been connected with like the First Form Outdoors side of the group. Like that led me to the First Form brand, which then led me to the First Form Outdoors side of things,
yeah,
which then it led me down the path of competing in the First Form Outdoors games, where I went to the finals twice, and it opened up all these connections for me, and relationships and different perspectives, and it invited me to this family of outdoorsmen that want to become their best selves, and it's like, dude, all this shit, it's crazy to think about. All this shit happened for me, not to me. You know what I mean? And I'm exactly where I need to be.
yeah. Can you say that? Can you say that quote again?
Yeah, things don't happen to us, they happen for us. And I think
I
about
love it.
like what you've went through, dude, and probably a lot of your followers, right? Like I know you see it that way. But dude, how tough is it for people to view their life that way, where they've experienced a tragic incident, right?
Right.
Like going from being able to walk and run to being in a wheelchair like that, it doesn't get any more tragic than that. But I can promise you, it happened for you and not to you, right?
Yeah, man. 100%. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it sucks, dude. And if it was up to me, I wish it would have never happened. But looking at it from a different angle, it's like, who knows where my life would have turned and went around to. But like, how many rad people have I gotten to meet? And how many kick ass scenarios have I been thrust into? And connections and just the networking and all this stuff is like, it's like I'm a firm believer that God was like, I didn't do this to you, but now that it has happened to you, I'm going to use it and I'm going to show you that you don't, like, it's all about how you make it. It's all about how big, how hard you want to go in life, dude. It's like no matter what happens, you can sit back and be a complete, POS and just, and turn into a negative Nancy or just, like you said, like you just get fat and you just let life take you away and, and you die miserable and you die with a bunch of regrets and you die with a bunch of what ifs. Well, I wish I could have did this. I wish I would have done that. But it's like no, man. It's like that's the mindset I've adopted, dude. It's like, what? I would rather be on my deathbed with a bunch of like, hey, remember this? Hey, remember that? Like, hey, man, I'm dying, dude. Make sure you take care of that big whitetail I shot, dude, or that bear, man. Don't let them get dusty. I left that comb right here on the top drawer, so you could keep that fur nice and clean, dude. And it's just, I'd rather die with stories than what ifs, man. And it's just, I don't know.
I agree,
It's
dude.
all about how you look at life, brother. You could look at it and you could be absolutely miserable and you can let it run you over and just take your name, dude. Or you can go out there and make a name for yourself and go out there. And you got to think, too, is like how many people out there are watching you, you know what I mean? And like if you, and they're They're looking for inspiration. They're looking for someone to look up to. And if you're just being a piece of crap, dude, especially if you got kids, and you're just a complete loser and you're just letting yourself go, and it's like your kids are looking up to that, and your kids, when they look at that, they think, oh, that's cool, that's normal. Like if my dad's doing it, like it's got to be cool. And in real life, it's like, no, dude, like your dad's a donkey, bro. Like, so it's all about who you look up to, and that's how I look at it. Like I've had several people in my life just come up to me and like, man, like I saw you getting in and out of your car. Like I have to like hop in my car, take apart my wheelchair, put it in the car, and drive off, and then get out. I gotta take my wheelchair out, put the wheels on, do all that, hop in. Like it's a little mission, bro, just to get in and out of the car. But I've had people say like, hey man, seeing you getting out of your car, like that looks tough, dude, but I'm super stoked you're doing it, man. You're like, that makes me like, now I feel like a turd because I'm whining about putting my socks on. It's like, bro, I don't know. That's just a made-up scenario. But if you guys are listening, you guys know what I'm trying to talk about. Dude. You guys know where I'm coming from.
Yeah. No,
anyway,
that's
cool.
That's exactly what I'm saying, dude. Is you couldn't be writing the story that you're writing today. You couldn't be making the impact that you've made over the years and the impact that you're making right now with your audience without that tragic accident happening for you. You know what I mean? Like that's how I view it. Dude, these things happen. As hard as it might be to comprehend or to believe, but they happen for us and not to us for a reason, because we have a mission on the other side of that.
There's a mission there's a goal, and it's all about how you make it. It's all about how you make it, dude. Like I said, you could let it run you over, or you could pick your bootstraps up and just make a kick-ass story.
Yeah.
It's the whole saying, the man in the arena, dude. I love it. I love that, man. I'd rather be the man in the arena, kicking butt, taking names, living life, than being that guy in the stands, sitting on my butt, wishing I was that guy in the arena. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And by doing that too, is like it's just one step in front of another. It's not, all this stuff doesn't happen overnight. Success isn't overnight, dude. It's just one step in front of the other. One domino falls. One turns into two to four to eight. You know what I mean? And it's just start, dude. Just start. And and go out of the solid year, just taking one step at a time, and then you're gonna look back and you're like, wow, dude, like look how far we've come,
And you're still
you got me all fired up, bro. I could just keep ranting and raving and going. I'm all like, let's do this, dude. I'm gonna go work out now.
Hell yeah.
I love it, bro. And I tend to keep these podcasts around an hour. I find people tend to chime out around about an hour, dude. And we're a little over an hour. So I just want to say thank you, dude. Thanks for coming on. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for being not only a friend, but a brother, dude. Like, I love it when we get together, dude. Like at the outdoor expo, bro. Just running into you randomly, bro. I didn't even there, and you probably didn't even see me. You probably just saw Waddell, dude, and like, oh shoot, what up, Derek? T8, dude, where you been, dude? Yeah, that's cool, man. But at the end of every podcast, dude, I'm a man of faith. I'm a man of God, dude, and I like to lift up a quick prayer just to bless my guests, bless my friends, dude. So if you guys are hearing and listening or watching this, dude, I'm just gonna say a quick prayer real quick, and then we'll go about our separate ways. But Father God, thank you so much for this beautiful day. Thank you for this evening, this day, this morning, Lord God, wherever you're at, Lord. And thank you for my buddy Clint, Lord God. He's not just a buddy, Lord. I consider him a brother now, Lord. And just thank you for the blessing he's been in my life, God, and how he's got me to be a better competitor in archery, God, and to be a better hunter, to take care of my body more, Lord God. Just watching his Instagram, Lord, it makes me feel like a turd some days, dude. But then I get off the couch and start grinding, Lord, and it just feels so good to have just motivation and mental friends who are disciplined in their craft, God. And thank you so much for bringing him into my life and bringing all the people that we've been able to be blessed with each other, Lord God. Just thank you for grinding, Lord. Thank you for the opportunity to go out there and just hunt game, God, and be surrounded in your creation and your love, Lord. And I just pray that you watch over us, Lord. Bless our future, bless the days to come, Lord God, and just keep giving us opportunities to go out in your creation and harvest some of these animals, Lord. Just want to say thank you, Lord. and all things in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, bro.
Right on, brother. I appreciate you. Everything you do, man. I can't stop, pumping your tires, dude. But you're a cool dude, man. Every now and then, you're pretty cool. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you're pretty cool. Every other day, I don't know, but Tuesdays and Thursdays, man, you're cool.
Hey, I love Tuesdays and Thursdays. Appreciate you having me
buddy.
on.
Yeah, buddy. Be safe, dude, and I'll be in touch.
Okay, sounds good.